Hello and welcome to Getting Started with Autopilot for Shopify. In this video, I'm going to give you a quick tour of Autopilot, show you how it works. We'll switch on some basic campaigns together and get your account set up. I've divided this video into chapters, but it is recorded live, so you can skip through at any time to different topics that you might be interested in. But if you do watch the video through in full, it'll give you a great introduction to Autopilot and show you how to set up the basics for your store. So let's jump in and take a look. Now I'm on my test store Maeve Skincare here, and this video does assume that you've already connected the Autopilot app to your Shopify store and you've gone through the setup wizard. So if you haven't done that yet, I'd recommend doing that first before continuing watching this video. So let's jump over to Autopilot and you'll land on this home screen after completing the setup wizard. And you'll see complete the setup checklist. There's a few more steps to complete in order to set up your account and some recommended steps as well. But it's on this screen that you'll find things like which campaigns that we recommend switching on for your store and a number of different tutorials on how to set up some basics like setting up out of stock notifications or how the engagement score works within Autopilot. But I thought to start this off, I'd just give you a tour of how it all works and fits together. So we'll work our way from the bottom to the top. So under data sources, you'll see once you've signed in for the first time, your store should be connected. And depending on the size of your store, this can take some time to sync over all of your data, orders, order history, and products from Shopify. So we can see that our Shopify store here is connected and working as expected. And above that, we've got this tracking code for the store as well. So when you connect to Shopify, we not only sync across your data, but we place a tracking code on your theme.liquid file. And what that does is it allows us to start tracking user behavior, like when people view products or visit certain pages on your store. And this helps you segment customers, create very highly segmented audiences, and basically know who to target when. You can add other data sources in here as well. So you can click on new data source and add things like Facebook. And this allows you to connect to your Facebook page and your Facebook ad account. And it enables you to do things like sync your audiences in Autopilot that I'll show in a minute over to Facebook so you can retarget those people, which is a really handy feature. So under customer data here, I'm going into activities. Activities represent different activities that your customers will do, things like opening and clicking an email, as you can see here. And also as you connect data sources, you'll see other activities appear in here as well. And these are things like when they abandon a cart or if they add a product to a cart. You can also create custom activities in here as well. So for example, if you have a physical store as well, like a IRL store, you can create activities in here for things like when they swipe and install a loyalty card, or just any other activities that you want to track across your business and maybe create a dashboard for. So activities are really powerful. If you do click into one of these activities, let's say added product to cart, you can see things like how many activities occurred, what attributes live under that activity. And also under this location tab here, you can see in real time if your activities have geo, like this one does, pins dropping on a map showing you where these activities are occurring across the globe in real time. It also has a handy full screen mode built in, so you can put this up on a screen in your office and see as people order in real time, which is a really cool feature. So that's a quick introduction to activities. So we've looked at data sources, which is where we connect all of our customer data. That's things like spreadsheets, your Shopify store, that website tracking code I showed, and activities. And these are used to represent different activities people complete. The other thing Autopilot does when you connect it is it creates audiences to represent the entire customer lifecycle. So it'll show you insights into your data, like who your subscribers are, who your customers are, single order customers, abandoned browsers, abandoned carts, and it just gives you all of these out of the box. So at a bare minimum, if you just use these audiences and target campaigns to each audience to either grow or contract those audiences, you'll be very successful. So for example, you want to grow your customer audience and contract your abandoned browser and abandoned cart audience. So that's really the methodology for growth in Autopilot. Identify those audiences across the customer lifecycle and then pair campaigns with them to either grow or contract them. And the best analogy I can give you for that is thinking about it like at a restaurant, a fancy restaurant where you've got meals and you've got recommended paired wines. And so we'll look in a minute at the recommended paired wines, or paired campaigns in our case, to those audiences. Now you can click into an audience to learn information about the audience, how people become a member of the audience. You can set up subscription preferences for the audience. So in here, you can choose whether the audience shows in a preference center or not for email preferences. And you can also, under here, check this box to sync the audience automatically over to Facebook. You can look at demographics of the audience and the performance over the audience over time. So there's a wealth of information in here. I'm not going to go into it because I want to quickly get through this, but it's worth exploring your audiences and really cherishing and nurturing each audience to maximize the growth that you can get out of each one. You can also create a new audience up here, and you might create different audiences for things that are more specific to your particular business. One audience I see a lot of e-commerce stores setting up is a supplier audience, so they can communicate with their suppliers as well as their customers in here as well. But for most people, these default audiences that are built in should already be pretty close to perfect. So I'm going to go over to a different account to look at the people section of the customer data platform. And in here, you can see that I've got a bunch of test data or fake data just so I can show you segmentation without revealing real people's information. But in this gives you a view of all of your customers, and you can customize this very well with data from multiple data sources. So because we've got Shopify connected, you can actually see we've got a Shopify total orders and total spent field in here. And you've got access to all of the data from your Shopify store. So you can add in here things like, their zip. And these are all the zip codes coming in from the Shopify store and various other information and fields from that data source. Now, as you add more data sources, you get more fields in here. So it really gives you this single view of the customer across multiple sources of data. Now, you can click into these records as well, but before I do that, let's say I want to find people that have ordered more than once in the last 90 days. So I can create a filter to do that. I click filter, and then under filter, you can see I can click into the Shopify data source, and I've actually got access to all of the fields that come from Shopify. So this is literally just all of the Shopify data in here that we can segment against, like total spent and total orders. But to get our query or the filter I'm looking for, we need to use an activity. And if we scroll down, we can see the Shopify activities in here. So I can say placed order, and I'll choose frequency and time, how many times over what period. And it defaults to occurred more than once. So placed order more than one time. And we'll say when in the last 90 days. And so that'll instantly return 50 matches for people that have ordered more than one time in the last 90 days. Now let's get a little bit more advanced here. So we'll add another condition and we'll say they've also placed an order. It has occurred where, and we'll say the total price is greater than $100. So now we're down to 34 matches. So 34 of 759 people in my database have ordered more than once in the last 90 days. And an order has occurred in that same period where the total price is greater than $100. So you can see how easy you can segment the data here. Now, you can also do proximity searches as well. So say you're interested in looking at how many orders occurred close to where a store location was. If you have a physical store, you can add another condition here and say person proximity. And my account's in kilometers, but you can also use miles. So I'll say like Sydney, New South Wales, Australia, where I am. within 10 kilometers of Sydney, and I've got two matches returned here, and I can see one of them's in Sydney, one of them's in Coogee, which is a suburb of Sydney. So now I've cross-pollinated my order data with location data to see proximity here. Now, you can do some amazing segmentation in here. You can look at how people react to things, whether they opened an email more than 5 times, whether they filled in a form on your website. The possibilities are really endless in terms of the segmentation, but the magic of this is it just allows you to ask questions of all of your data. And so if you have a theory about something like how many people are ordering in a specific city or what exact products people are ordering, you can easily filter it in here. So just to demonstrate that, under ordered product, we can say has occurred where, and we can say name, and you'll see a list of some of the products in here, and you can search all of your product inventory as well in here. So you could pick this specific product, and unfortunately no one's matched in those particular orders, but you get the idea. Now, if you've got a filter that you want to save, because it's a filter that you want to refer back to more than once, you can actually save filters directly as an audience, as we saw earlier. So you can save it as an audience. You can say people who buy a lot in Sydney, and then you can choose an icon to identify that audience with, decide whether it'll show up in your preference center or not. That's the email preference center. Decide if you want to sync it to Facebook ads if you've got that connected, and click OK, and that'll save it as an audience. And then you'll see that audience appear in here, and then you can mark it to that audience and treat that audience as another one that you want to set up campaigns for later. So that's a really, really quick introduction to just some of the capabilities of the customer data platform built into Autopilot. But it's a very simple and robust system to use, and it can scale. So if you've only got 50 customers today and you're watching this thinking, wow, I have access to nuclear weapons now, don't worry, because as you grow, a lot of these features will become really valuable, and it'll be great to have a solution this powerful in place. So if you click into a specific contact as well, you'll see location data appears as well. And under the Shopify fields here, you'll see all of the different fields from your Shopify account as well. So anything you can see in Shopify, you can see in here as well, which just allows you to segment on all that information. So this is all customizable as well. Like if you don't want a bunch of these fields to show, you can hide them. You can decide what shows up above the sort of fold here on the side. You can also rearrange these sections, so you can move them around if you want Shopify, say below the about here. So you can fully customize this view of the customer. And over on the right, we can just see the activities that the customer has completed. So you can see here they abandoned a cart, they ordered a product here, they ordered a pet dog here. Some of our test data is terrible, but you get the idea. And if you've got this implemented into your own Shopify store, the information's going to be much more relative to your store and interesting rather than mine. You can also click over here and see what audiences this particular person belongs to, and what campaigns they might have been sent so far. So there's a lot of information at the profile level here as well. So let's get into something more exciting. We'll go over to campaigns. I'm sorry, that was pretty exciting for data nerds, but we'll go to campaigns next to make it a little bit more interesting for the problems that you're trying to solve. So on the home screen, it's actually a great place to start to think through the key campaigns that you can set up. So most Shopify stores have the default abandoned cart switched on, and it doesn't do a particularly good job, because you just the person gets sent one abandoned cart email and then it sort of gives up, and it's not very well timed, and you can't customize it, and so it doesn't lead to a great recovery rate. So it's recommended you go into your settings and switch that off and set up a default abandoned cart recovery campaign within Autopilot, and you'll see that you'll increase cart abandonment recovery pretty significantly when you do that. So we've built a series of templates that are completely customized based on the brand book that you set up when you sign up. to target those key audiences across your customer lifecycle. So when we looked at the audiences before, all of these templates that I'm about to show you just help you pair directly against these audiences to enable you to quickly switch on just the basics. And I assure you, if you do these basics, you'll be successful. Like if you just switch on abandoned cart recovery and turn browsers into buyers, you'll see a big impact on revenue pretty soon after, especially if you've got a lot of orders and traffic and a lot of activity happening on your store. Even if you only have a small amount, it will be really helpful as well. So let's look at how to set these up. There's two ways. You can click on the home screen here and just instantly set them up, or you can go into campaigns, select new campaign. We're going to use a playbook because it's an automated campaign and that's what we want to set up. And you can tab over to Shopify and just see all the different templates that we have built in here. But I will show you how to start from the home screen. So under switch on these campaigns, if we want to set up abandoned cart recovery, you just click. It's literally the only step. There's one step. So Autopilot will go ahead and build out the campaign. You'll see it says building campaign, and then it will launch into the playbook directly. Now you could just go ahead and switch this playbook on as is. There's really not a lot to do, but I want to quickly step you through how it all works so you can get your head around it. So here it says people enter when abandoned cart occurs. So they'll enter this playbook after they abandon a cart, and then they'll leave when they place an order. So when they abandon the cart, they'll get the first message here. And if they then place an order, they'll be removed from this playbook because we don't want them to get the second email, because we'll look pretty silly if we send them an abandoned cart reminder and they've already gone ahead and recovered the cart. Under send messages, you'll see it says to all subscribers at least 2 days apart. So they'll get reminders about the abandoned cart every 2 days unless we modify this time delay. Now we could change it to just a day apart if we wanted to be more aggressive and keep reminding them every single day. And then below that, you've got your attribution settings. And by default, you don't have to touch this. It's just attributing the performance of these emails to getting the customer to place an order. So there's 3 example emails that are in this abandoned cart recovery playbook. This is set up in a very structured way to try and get people to recover their cart. I do have a separate video on my YouTube channel where I go into abandoned cart recovery much deeper than this. But what we'll do is we'll just take a look at this sequence really quickly to understand how it works. So if you click into this first email, you'll see that it says people can receive this message more than once. And that just means every time they abandon a cart, they're able to get this abandoned cart email. So we'll always remind them of that cart that's abandoned. So here we have the email that'll be sent, and it automatically adapts to the brand colors that you set up during the sign up. If you're not happy with the look and feel of this email, you can go out of campaigns and go into setup, and you'll find the color and brand palette under brand book. And you can go in here and change all the settings, the typography, what buttons look like, and then any templates you use after that will adapt to those brand colors as well. So under abandoned cart recovery, we'll go back into that email, and you can see this email looks pretty good. It's got some links in the header. It's got the brand here. It's got some example products from my store that would be abandoned, and you can change the layout of these products and how they'll look. And you'll see here, it just says, hi, Mike, you left. And then it's doing a calculation here that just says you left either 1 item in your cart or, 6 items in the cart, if that's how many it is. It's got a link for them to complete the order. It's got a buy now button, and it's got examples of products that might have been in their cart. Let's just take a look at how that email works. You can see the subject line's already been filled in. The preview text has already been filled in for you. But you could go and customize this however you wanted to. I'll skip ahead to the design here, and you can see that I've got the email here, and I've got this content block, which represents the abandoned cart. You can click into this and hit configure, and then you can go and change this, change how it looks, how it's aligned, the different layout options, and various other things. Now, you can also apply coupons to abandoned carts, and this is actually done in the abandoned cart recovery playbook for you. but you can add a coupon to the cart content block itself. So when they click through from that product on this, it'll automatically apply the coupon for them. And you can select some coupons in here that you have already created. You can actually create coupons in Autopilot as well under setup and coupon management. So you don't have to go into Shopify to create coupons. You can do them right within Autopilot. So if I wanted to apply free shipping to this particular abandoned cart, I can add it and you'll see the coupon would be applied. Now I obviously need to tell them I'm giving them free shipping, but it just is a really nice, simple way of adding coupons to these content areas. So we'll click save and this is what the email looks like. I'm happy with it, so I'll hit next. We'll go to the review step, and the review step is just going to check all the links work correctly. It'll show us how the email looks. You can test it on mobile as well and see what it looks like. You can also send yourself a test of the email before you publish it, just so you know what it's going to look like. So that's the first email they get. The second email is pretty simple as well. It's just a reminder, and it's going to just remind them that, hey, there's still some items in your cart. And the third email is actually going to offer them a coupon, and the coupon is going to be 10% off the cart. Now, by default, they'll get this 6 days later. We changed the setting to be at least 1 day apart, so they would get this on the third day if they still had an outstanding abandoned cart. Now, the magic here is Autopilot actually already creates the coupon for this playbook and this email, so you don't actually need to do anything. As I said earlier, you could have just switched this on, but let's take a look at how it works. So you can see that this playbook 10% coupon has been added and applied. Now, you mightn't be comfortable giving 10% off. You might want to offer free shipping on the final step. You might want to increase the discount to see if that leads to a good recovery rate. So really, that's your decision, what you want to do there. But if you do switch on the default playbooks, just note that they do create working coupons. So if you switch this on, you're willing to offer people 10% on whatever the cart value might be. So that's just a quick introduction to playbooks. They can do much more sophisticated things than I'm showing you today, but this is a really good start for an abandoned cart recovery playbook, and it's going to turn those abandoned cart audience members into recovered carts. So that's the first playbook I want to show, and we can just go ahead and switch that on. I'll show you how easy it is. We hit switch on, it counts down, and then that's now active on my store. So it's going to start recovering abandoned carts. And then over in the reporting, as carts start getting recovered, I'll be able to see all the orders and revenue that are attributed and dig into the metrics behind that abandoned cart recovery sequence. Now, you can go ahead and add these pretty quickly. So we recommend adding all the various playbooks to your Autopilot account. There's things in here like happy birthday promotions as well. Obviously, to do a happy birthday promotion playbook, you're going to need to know details like the birthday of the person who subscribes to your mailing list or who is a customer in your store. So that's actually a great segue to demonstrate to you what we call capture. So capture allows you to create forms for your website. And here's an example form that I've created to get in touch on my Shopify store here. So I think if I go over to contact us here, you'll see that form working here. So I've just added a form to a page on my website, a nice contact form. And under here, I've got a 10% off for subscribing to my newsletter. So I've created a nice little notification that lives on my website as well. So with capture widgets, you can create all sorts of things. You can do bars at the top of the site and spin wheels if you want to have a spin wheel competition with different coupons. You can put banners across the bottom of the page, do full takeovers. So the possibilities are pretty endless. But let's look at a typical example of just putting up a pop-up to get people to subscribe and asking them what their birthday is. So we'll say subscribe for free shipping this time we'll do. So there's a bunch of configuration settings here to show the widget on certain pages, show the widget when there's exit intent on the page or they've been on the page for a number of seconds. Now, I've got other videos where I go into much more detail about how to use capture widgets on your website. So I'm not going to cover that right now. But if you did want to get in here and edit it and go to this form here and add the field birthday, you could do that to start collecting birthdays of your users. You can also add other forms as well. So other form fields, I should say, where you might have like preferences of what they are interested in or might want to receive from you. So you could say like you could do a custom field here called interests, and then you could have a multi-select so they could select multiple interests. And so we could say skincare guides, makeup tips, everything else as an example. And then that would give you a multi-select field here where they could select their interests. You could then have them submit that form and send them emails based on their interests, so that you're sending them what they want to see, like in this case, makeup tips or skincare guides. So that's how to set up a capture widget. You can control the greeting and thank you. And there's a lot you can do in here. You can add videos into your widgets. You can add reactions if you want the response to a new product you release. You can have countdown timers going and have a promotion for a particular countdown timer. And of course, these widgets that you create will appear in your brand colors automatically as well, but you can go in and change the style, the fonts, the layouts, and all of those options as well in here. So we'll go ahead and save out this this widget. Now you can also link these widgets to Playbook. So if you wanted to start a Playbook after someone fills in this widget and subscribes on your website, you can click this button, link to Playbook, and it'll create a Playbook for you with the entry criteria already set to submitted widget from this particular widget form where it's subscribed from free shipping. And it'll also show you a link back to the capture. So you can just click back and forth between the capture and the widget and switch them both on, and you're good to go. So that's a really quick introduction to the playbooks that we can set up through templates, and then the capture widgets as well. And you should go and explore different types of capture widgets for your own site in here and have a play around. Now, the final thing I'll show you in campaigns is you can create new campaigns and send single email campaigns as well. So we could call this one a product catalog. And we'll say new items now in stock or something like that. You'll see here you can add things like preview text as well. So that's the text that appears after the subject line is a preview generally. You've got the from name as well, and the from email you can configure, and you can turn on a feature we call reactions, which allows people to click smiley faces and react to your email. And I'll show you that in a second here. So when we're creating an email, we can pick one of our audiences. So we could say we're sending it to our subscribers. And then we can pick from a number of templates that are built in. I'm just going to show you a quick simple text template here. And so you can see the email looks pretty beautiful out of the gate because it's set with my brand colors. And I can actually use these content blocks here to add products. So I could build a product catalog. I can drag this in, tap configure, and then add products directly from my store here. Like I'll add these 3 in. And you'll see that it adds them into this little showcase here. And I can say I want to display them 2 to a line or 3 to a line, however I want to display it. You can also apply coupons to these layouts, but you can see how easy it is to design a really nice product showcase here. I can add a little bit of padding to the bottom, and I have a pretty nice email I can send to my customers already building out here. So hopefully this gives you an idea of just building a single send email campaign if you want to showcase some products, or you're having a sale, or Black Friday's coming up and you want to show what might be on sale. So there's a number of different types of emails you can create. Obviously the email editor, however creative you are, you can create beautiful emails in here. So on the review step, we'll just click, well, we won't click send now because I don't want to send it, but it does give you the opportunity to review it. You can schedule the email for a certain time and date. And you can review all the different settings here before you send. So we'll just close out of that, and we've got an email draft. Now, the final thing I want to show you is the reports and dashboards. So in the reports, you'll see a number of reports are created by default. And these are the reports that are shown on the default performance dashboard that you'll see in your account. Now, I don't have a lot of data, so you're not seeing much here, but these dashboards give you insight into not only the information from your store, like how many orders and how much revenue you're generating, but how much revenue you're generating from emails, from capture widgets. It'll also show you your overall email performance as well. And you can customize these reports however you want. You can click customize and drag things around, add different reports into dashboards. You can even share the dashboard. So you can share the dashboard with maybe like your agency or a friend to show them how you're doing, or someone on your team, without them being able to log into Autopilot. And by default, you'll also see that you get email notifications set up. So you'll get this dashboard emailed to you at the start of every week. So you'll be able to assess how you're performing every single week, which is great. Now, reports are pretty powerful. There's a number of templates built in. You can tab over to Shopify to see some of them. You've got things like orders by week, orders by month, revenue by week. You've also just got some basics in the quick start here. Like if you want to see attributed revenue from Autopilot by week, and then you've got deeper dives into campaign statistics. And so these reports, if you click into them, will actually just give you an instant summary and build out the report for you as a template. But you can also build these from scratch yourself. So I'm going to tab over to this account, which has a little bit more data in it, just to show you how this works. So I can go over to Shopify here and I'll pick orders by week. And so this shows me instantly the amount of orders I've had by week, but I'll show you how to sort of change this and modify the report. So you can do things like, say, I want to aggregate it by sum of attribute, and then we'll say display labels, and then that'll show us the amount of revenue we're making per week as well. And then I might want to add in here to analyze it by like opened email or clicked email. So you can add different activities in here to see how they compare. Now, I haven't been sending emails from this particular account, so there's nothing really to compare, but it's incredibly easy to come in here and add different activities and build out reports. And you can do some really interesting things like add a funnel here and then select the Shopify activity placed order, and then just select the activity again, placed order. And so this tells you your repeat buyers. So you can see people in the last 30 days, which is the default time window, 59 placed an order, and then 43 of them purchased again within that same 30-day period. So you can see this is a really good retention rate. There's other reports you can look at, like Geo to see a map, and more advanced reports like cohort as well. So you can select here placed order, and then the second activity we'll select as placed order again, and then we'll look at it by days, and you can see here this will lay it out to you another way to look at those repeat orders. So you can see on this cohort here we had 6 orders, and then 2 days later 33% of those people purchased again. So you can build out a number of different reports, like email summary per week here, and create that report. And then you can click pin to dashboard and pin these reports to a dashboard and build your own reports that you want to track and look at each week. But the default dashboards built in will give you a treasure trove of information about your business. So you can click here on new dashboard, and you'll see there's also templates for dashboards. So if I just wanted to see my website analytics, I could hit continue, and you'll see you've got essentially like a mini Google Analytics built in here. So you can see website session traffic in here, user sessions, which are known sessions, the bounce rate of the website, and where people are visiting from, and a ton of information. And the great thing about this is you can actually look at it based on connecting the website session data back to Shopify data. So if you do a lot of paid advertising, you can look at UTMs from Google Ads or Facebook and how they actually contribute to orders in your store. There's an amazing amount of analysis you can do with these dashboards and reporting. They're incredibly easy to use as well. So I encourage you to try them out. Try some of these dashboard templates. You can do things like under e-commerce, a deeper dive into your Shopify analytics, and you can view these on your mobile phone. So if you're out and about, you can load up dashboards. They work great on an iPad as well if you use one of those. So that's a very quick introduction to Autopilot for Shopify. I hope you've enjoyed this general tour of the product and you've got something out of it. I'd encourage you, if you are just starting out, to go back, look at these audiences and say, and really commit to pairing a campaign with each of these audiences so you can either grow them out or contract them, and you'll no doubt be successful. If you need help at any time in Autopilot, you can click the Get Help button. You can search the knowledge base. There's video training available. There's documentation, or you can chat to our team by submitting a support ticket in here as well. So help is never far away if you ever get stuck or just want to talk to someone and get some one-on-one help. But at a minimum, I would encourage you to switch on a couple of these campaigns, start sending emails, set up some capture widgets on your website, and use the reporting and dashboards to track your performance, and your store will be making more money and growing faster in no time. I hope you've enjoyed this video. I certainly have enjoyed taking you through it, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. If you enjoyed this video, give it a like on YouTube. And if you are on YouTube, feel free to subscribe to the channel. I release roughly 2 videos every week. Thanks for watching.